Hi, before I explain to you guys about how globalization affects my country, I want to tell a little bit about myself. I'm Heidi. I was born in 27 February 1999 in the capital city of Indonesia, which is Jakarta. In 2017, I moved out from my country to Canada, which is very far from Indonesia. It takes 80 hours flights and it's about 12,878 kilometers far. In this video, I'll tell you how globalization affects my culture in Indonesia. These are 4 most important factors which contribute to globalization in my culture. The first one is fashion, the second one is foods, the third one is interactions, and the fourth one is music. First, let's discuss about fashion, which has a very huge difference between Americas and Indonesia. Indonesian tailors are known to produce high-quality batiks, which are traditional clothes of Indonesia. However, since I was born in the era of globalization, I was not accustomed to wear batik. I'm more comfortable wearing Western clothes such as sleeveless clothes, crop top tees, ripped jeans, and more. Most of the time, I usually buy them not from the local store brand, but I bought clothes from American stores such as H&M, Forever 21, and American Eagle. And since Indonesia is a very rural country, we don't find it hard to look for another country's brand store. For us, it's harder to find a local brand store. I think the most influential factor came from movies that I've watched during my childhood and teenagehood, such as High School Musical, Hannah Montana, and Gossip Girl. We'll talk about food. Food is a major component in our life. Everybody needs food to survive and everyone loves food. I never moved to another country since I was born, but one thing that I know, I had always liked Western food more than Indonesian foods, since I don't really like spicy foods. Indonesia is well known because of the spicy foods and we use lots of spices in every dishes. So, in 2017, when I first moved to Canada, I thought that I will have no problem with the foods in here because I thought there is no such a big difference between foods in Canada and in Indonesia. However, I realized that even though I always order Western food back in my country, there is a part inside of me which miss Indonesian foods. The first year in Canada had been really hard for me because I almost spent of my eating expenses on fast food such as Churches, Uncle Fatty's Pizza, and Subway. I realized that it's very unhealthy. Since then, I was always craving for Indonesian foods and I'm slowly getting bored with the foods here. Until I found a place in Stadium Chinatown called Bali Thai where they sell Indonesian food such as rendang and bakmi ayam. I was so happy, but I know that I can't always eat unless I want to be broke. So, I started learning how to cook Indonesian foods with my friend who really likes to cook. Now, I think that by this time, I'm slowly getting used to the foods here and live in a healthy lifestyle. Third one is about interactions with elders. Back in my country, it's very rude for someone younger called older people by their name, even though we are only a year younger than that person. And for the example, is in my family. I have an older brother, even though he is only a year older than me. I have to call my brother with honorifics. Then I came here. I was very confused on what to call my teachers because I always find it very awkward to call them by their first name and I found it weird to call them by sir or miss because nobody did that. One is music. Canadian and American singers and songs have the biggest impact on what music I like in the past and in the present day. From Canadian singer, I really like Celine Dion, since my father and mother are her fans since they were young, so I'm used to listening to her song. I also like Justin Bieber and Shawn Mendes. As for America, I really like Beyonce and Taylor Swift. This doesn't mean that I don't like Indonesian singers. There are some Indonesian singers that I like. For the examples, I like Tulus and Raisa. These days, lots of people from my country really like Bruno Mars and Shawn Mendes. Their songs are often played on the radio in Indonesia. This amazed me because many people don't speak English in my country, but they are still influenced by American songs. Since I really appreciate music, I often talk to my international friends about Indonesian music styles. My goal is to make Indonesian musicians well known by international people so that they can be more popular and can bring Indonesian name as a country where there are many talented people in Indonesia. Now, we know that Indonesia has lots of interesting cultures, but because of globalization, many young people in Indonesia shifted from our culture to Western culture, like how the way they get dressed, what music they are interested in, what food they often eat. I want to make Indonesian culture to be more well known around the world, especially for batik and our music. These days, the interest for batiks is getting lower and lower. It's very saddening. In the food section, me and my friend has already started to gain people interest for Indonesian food by selling Indonesian food that we cook to our friends here in Canada, so that they can have a taste of how amazing Indonesian foods are. Nowadays, I'm thinking, what if Indonesian culture will be gone from my life? Because we, as a young generation, give more attention to other countries' culture. I slowly started to think that I have to appreciate more Indonesian culture more than other country cultures. And if I already appreciate my culture, then I can influence others so that our culture doesn't vanish. Such as, for the foods, we can open and pursue young Indonesia businessmen to open a new branch of Indonesian restaurant here. And then for fashion, we can appreciate batiks more by wearing batik to a formal gathering. And for music, we must love our country musicians more than other singers. And the last one is honorifics. Indonesian people keep the honorifics because they think it's part of being polite. So in order to keep this culture, we must not get tired with honorifics.